How's it going, everybody? It's boy Pixelated Pat. It's my pleasure to welcome you back to another episode of our Pokemon Gaia Hardcore Nuzlocke. Today in the agenda, we have another battle with our rival, but before we get to that, we have to take over another gang of criminals staking out the hotel here on Prestimos Island. We start things off with the bank to let them know we're here to take over their operations and make their gang my own. After all, now that I've taken over Prestimos Island, I can't think of a better way to strengthen the numbers of our biker gang than by taking over another one. In the name of Lord Helix, may his praise sing with the hymns of anarchy. That being said, I couldn't believe how beyond lucky I was that Explosion didn't crit. Yet another close call that Magna has survived. While I'm glad that Magna survived, I easily could have avoided it just by switching into Banette. And for that reason, I do believe that there is a lesson I can take away from this. Truth be told, I wasn't expecting much out of this gang of thieves, especially after taking down a difficult Elder Knight battle and a former Elite Four member with Will. Meaning the lesson that I can take from this is that I can never get too comfortable in Nuzlocke. I do feel like there's times I let my guard down just from being too overconfident, which is something I'll need to avoid so I don't lose anyone important. After all, I really can't think of anything more painful than losing a good Pokemon to hubris. And while I feel like that's a lesson I should already have ingrained in me with this being my 5th Nuzlocke, I feel like part of the reason why I let my guard down at times is due to the fact that I'm not in a randomizer. One thing's for sure, I definitely can't wait to hit another randomizer again after we finish this run. After all, I haven't run a randomizer since September of last year, which at the time of this recording has been over half a year. I've definitely been feeling the itch for the constant chaotic conditions after being spoiled by non-randomizer runs with these last 2 runs with Fire, Gold, and Gaia. One thing's for sure, I'll be having the time of my life getting back to the roots of my first ever Nuzlocke challenge once we finish Gaia. Till then, I'll go back to what I was already doing, and that's taking over the Orbitus region. I seriously can't give the developer Spherical Ice enough credit for putting together such a super special, awesome, incredible game. Shout out to everybody that caught that Yu-Gi-Oh! Bridge reference. Anyways, after the battles with another Elder Knight and a former Elite Four member, and the 6-on-6 battle we have coming up against the rival after we're done with these burglars, I can really feel the difficulty beginning to rise even more than it was before. The gradual increase in difficulty is a very welcome change of pace, especially with how natural the progression feels. One thing's for sure, I'll have to do my best to not let my guard down, especially now that we're 2 badges away from the Pokemon League. That being said, I'll definitely need to stay on my toes now that we're getting to the scale of levels that matches the Elite Four in post-game of Generation 2 when we're only 6 badges in. that's something that definitely took me off guard when I thought about it, because it made me realize just how much potential this run has to get more and more dangerous the deeper we get into it. If what I said in the last video about having access to the best move tutors at this point of the game was a way to prep for the trials ahead, then may Lord Helix have mercy on my Pokemon. I feel like we'd have way more deaths on the table than the 3 we've had if I didn't get lucky so much, but I feel like relying on luck is exactly the kind of habit that halts the progression of a player's skill set and gets Pokemon killed. Anyways, I totally forgot to mention one of our newest developments, and that is that our boy Fonz finally became a proud Nidoking. While part of me isn't too sure how far I'll be able to take Nidoking due to the fact that it doesn't stack too well against some of the subtle power creep in generations 4 through 6, that's nowhere near enough to stop me from being excited about having a Pokemon with as much potential as Nidoking in the rotation. And I gotta say, I'm glad we finally got around to evolving him, because I've had the Moonstone for a while now. But I was waiting until he learned Poison Jab to evolve him at level 43, so that way he could learn Earth Power as well. After all, nothing beats having a Pokemon with as many options as Nidoking is capable of. And the best part is, his ability changed upon evolution, meaning we will no longer have to deal with the random misses forced by Hustle, which would often put us in tight situations. That's a huge part of the reason why he's taken a backseat these last few episodes, and that's because I didn't want to take the risk of losing him before we could evolve him. Now that he's fully evolved, you can bet that we'll see a lot more of him, just not in the next gym because it's a water type. In case you were wondering what his new ability is, he gained the ability Sheer Force, which is basically an upgraded version of Hustle. For those who don't know, Hustle trades accuracy for power, while Sheer Force trades a secondary effect for power. While Nidoking's Poison Jabs won't be landing any poisons, he will be hitting extra hard, and I'm just fine with that. One thing's for sure though, I have to take great care to ensure that I fill his moveset with moves that have secondary effects. I was thinking Shadow Claw might be a great idea, and while Shadow Claw will lose out on the high chance of critical hit thanks to Sheer Force, that still doesn't rule out your regular run-of-the-mill critical hit. Its hitting power will be slightly raised, meaning it can deal more damage on a more consistent basis, and if there's anything I've learned in the Nuzlocke and just about life in general, it's that consistency is the key to just about everything. That being said, I'll definitely have to take it over to the move tutors to see what I can and can't teach it. While this inevitably means more Rock Smash grinding, I will do what I must if it means I have the chance to make my Pokemon the best that they can be. Anyways, we're about to have our battle with the rival, so you know what that means. Cue the OST. So anyways, my strategy going into this battle, I was going to try and emulate my strategy from my matches at Cebulo Tower. The first thing I do was set up my Toxic Spikes with Needle King, and from there I set up Stealth Rocks and as many spikes as I can with Skarmy before he gets taken down to one hit range. While it's a shame that I couldn't take down Hariyama with Skarmy like I wanted to, things don't always work out the way you want them to. While it's a shame that I couldn't get 3 rounds of spikes up, I'll take what I can get. From there I hand the reins over to Riz so he can take out this Hariyama with one quick play rough, and that's one Pokemon down. And here's where things get a little bit spicy with Rotom Heat, and I unfortunately make a mistake that causes me to lose a great Pokemon. You see, I forgot that Rotom loses its Ghost typing upon a form change, which unfortunately causes this to happen.
Oh! Is it down and out?
Anyways, you wouldn't believe how devastated I actually was at this moment. The entire run I've been as careful as I can be just to lose my Heracross Light 2 in Oversight. We used a free switch in to send in our Banette so we can Mega Evolve right away and get a quick revenge kill on that menace of a Rotom. Anyways, as you can imagine, I'll be flipping off every Rotom that I see from this point on. Anyways, he sends in his Gigalith next, who immediately loses Sturdy thanks to the hazards we have laid on the field, causing it to lose more than a quarter of its health upon entry. Here's where my strategy comes into play, and not only are we able to take out his Gigalith with a quick Hex, but we're also able to take down his Leafeon, who also falls victim to the hazards on the field. And just like that, we're able to sweep 2 of his Pokemon under the rug. But sadly, this is the point of the battle where my strategy to sweep them with Hex stops working. Altaria is able to instantly outspeed us and land a Sing, and you wouldn't believe how annoyed I was by this, especially when I send in Riz only for him to get hit with another Sing. Realizing I don't have much of a choice, I keep in Riz and we're able to wake up and land a quick Ice Punch to take out this Altaria, which only leaves us with Empoleon. Once again, I realize I don't have much of a choice, especially since I can't send in Durana, hit him with Dig, and I don't want to risk sending Infernape in. However, Riz is able to weather the storm and spam Rock Smash, which hands us the victory, although at a great cost with the loss of Durana. While the dialogue depicts him as the one crying after he lost the match, if anything, it was me crying after we lost Durana, the third death of the Nuzlocke and the one that hurts the most up to this point. Anyways, that's all I got for you today, so don't forget to spam Fs in the chat for Durana. I'll see you guys in the next one. This is Pixelated Pat, signing off.